Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, and today I am testing out the Luminous Elixir 3-Drop Foundation from Ritual Defy. So this is a product they put out just in like the testing phases of this product. They want customer feedback, so I'm trying this a few different ways today, different primers, setting it, not setting it, and I'm going to kind of give you my thoughts on it, at least so far. I haven't used it a dozen times or anything, but I think by the end of this video I used it enough times to kind of get like a vibe for my thoughts on it and give you some more information about it. So if that sounds interesting to you, keep on watching. Before we get too far into the video, if you have not already, please click that subscribe button. I upload twice a week. It's totally free to subscribe, and I'm actually getting really close to 400 subscribers. I'm going to do another giveaway when I hit that number, so don't miss out. Make sure you're subscribed. All right, let's go ahead and get into the foundation try on. All right guys, so this is my second time using the Ritual Defy Luminous Elixir 3-Drop Foundation. Here it is. I don't know if this will be the size of the final product. They sold this for around $35, but it was so that people could try it and give them feedback before they came out with the final product, I guess. So this is the second time I'm wearing this, so I'm shaking it well because the directions say to shake well, release just 3 drops of product into palm, apply like skincare, start by warming it in your hands, then apply gently to the face with fingertips by gently pressing into the skin. For best results, apply after the Thorn Oil Facial Elixir, which I do not have, so hopefully this isn't one of those products that like you need that to go with it. I will say the first time I wore it, it picked up on some dry patches. For those of you that might not know, I have oily / combination skin, so specifically like here on my forehead I have some dryness, and it really picked up on those after I had worn it for a while. So today I just got out of the shower, I have clean skin. The only thing I've put on so far is moisturizer, specifically in those dry spots. And then I did also put on the Wet n Wild Impossible Primer. This is what I've been using for my daily primer. I know how it behaves. So I'm shaking super well because I felt like I shook it really well the first time, and it still looked like when I poured it out, like the oil and the product in it weren't quite mixed completely. There was still some separation, it looked like. So now that we've really mixed it, here's what it looks like, the tip here. And I've got mine in the shade Nixed, which is the lightest with neutral undertones. Just gonna take my palm and just like it says, go 1, 2, 3. 3 drops is all it says that you need. And maybe you can see in this top drop, it still doesn't look, it just doesn't look fully mixed to me still. So it says warm it up in your hand and then apply it to the face. So I'm just gonna do kind of some dots, some streaks here all over to try to evenly distribute it. Now the first time I wore this seemed like pretty much no coverage. So I'm thinking so far, but I'm gonna keep testing it, that this is really more made for y'all that pretty much have perfect skin and just want a little something on. That is not me. So we'll see how it wears this time, but last time I basically put it all over, and then any spots that I still had either active acne or acne scarring that I wanted covered, I went and layered concealer over top of it. It definitely does provide some coverage, like it definitely helps in my opinion with like the redness that I have in my skin. Naturally I have a lot of redness, so it does kind of help to even out the tone, I think. But first impressions was that it was not enough coverage for me personally, but here we are trying it again. I wanted to play with it off camera the first time just to really see. Although if you want to see it in action, I'll link my previous video, the one where I was playing with the Adept Cosmetics and Heather Austin eyeshadow palette. I was actually wearing this, what do they call it? We call it a foundation. I was wearing this in that video if you want to see how it looks with some other makeup stacked on top of it. So here it is, okay? I don't know. Like I still have a lot of redness here and here. You can still see all of this acne scarring. Like I said, so far I'm kind of like, I don't know that it's for me. I think it might just be for you that already have perfect skin for the most part. and not us normal people. So I'm gonna go ahead and put a little concealer where I normally would, kind of where it's a little dark under my eyes. And I'm also gonna put it over top of really all this acne scarring on my chin. I'm gonna try to not build it up on my forehead or here, even though it's not full coverage, just because if I put concealer everywhere, then it's like, what was even the point of using that product? You know, you might as well just use the concealer as foundation, which I know some people do. So I'm gonna let that sit here for a minute and then I'll blend it in and show you. All right, so here's my skin post concealer. I'm gonna zoom in so you can really see everything here. So this is probably my better side, I would say, like with my actual skin and clarity. There's definitely a little bit of lightness between my concealer and my skin tone, but usually I use a pretty bright color of concealer anyway, just for brightening under the eye. And then here is my worst side, in my opinion. Like, you can still see texture. I mean, you're always going to be able to see texture of active acne. That's with the concealer and not just the foundation over top. And I really want like you to see the forehead, because that is where I have just the moisturizer, primer, and the Ritual Defy foundation. There is no concealer whatsoever on my head. So definitely skin-like, because that's about all there is. There's not a whole lot of makeup or coverage in the product so far, is what I'm getting. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and do the rest of my makeup just to show you like how product builds on it, and I'll be right back. All right guys, so here's the final look. It's super, super light. I'm actually just going to lunch for Mother's Day with my grandma and with my mom. Gonna let my hair air dry the rest of the way, something super simple. But yeah, here is the skin once again with some blush, bronzer, no powder layered on top. And I will check in at the end of the day just to show you kind of how it wore, how the skin is looking later on. Hey guys, just want to do a check-in. I've now been wearing my makeup for about 7 hours. I put on the foundation at 11:30 and it's 6:14 p.m. now, so almost 7 hours. So I am both too oily and too dry at the same time. Around here, my nose, you can probably see, like, the makeup's pretty much done at this point, right? Like, the concealer's gone that I put on to layer. You can see all of my acne scarring and spots showing through. And if we zoom in a little bit here, you can probably see like it's really oily and greasy in here. Like, this is where I usually get the oiliest anyway. I didn't set with powder or anything like that or touch up throughout the day. So that's really oily and greasy there. And then still, even with the microdermabrasion treatment I did this morning and the moisturizer and the smoothing primer, there's still right here just a bit of dryness that is picking up with this serum foundation right here. It's not terrible. I don't even know if you guys can see it, but it's noticeable to me just because I normally on a daily basis at work have been wearing the Tarte face tape foundation, and that doesn't do that. It just doesn't. So I notice it with this because it doesn't normally happen. So I'm gonna give this another go on camera just to further test it out. I will say, instead of this primer, I am gonna try, I'll leave link to my video if you haven't seen it, but I tried a bunch of stuff from the brand Well People, and one of the things I really liked was an oil primer for that brand. Now this right on here says, for best results, apply after Ritual Defy Thorn Oil Priming Facial Elixir. I don't have that, so I'm hoping maybe if I use that, since it is a different brand's priming oil, maybe that will give me a little bit of better results as far as like the dryness situation that's happening. It's obviously not going to make it have any more coverage, but just so you can see after 7 hours, here's what it's looking like. What do we think? Do we like it? Do we not like it? I'm still leaning on the not so much for me type thing, but I want to give it another try, a third try, before I really, you know, make my final mind up about this. Because again, this I paid like somewhere around $35 for that, which is not cheap in my opinion when there is drugstore stuff that I like that's way cheaper. So yeah, and this is the first like serum foundation type product I've ever tried. So I don't know. To be continued. All right guys, here we are for part 2 of testing the Ritual Defy Luminous Elixir 3-drop foundation. Ooh, my hair is doing crazy things. So today we are trying the Well People Bio Booster Oil Drops with this instead of more of like a pore filling type of primer. And we're gonna see if this does anything for us, since the directions said to use it with the Thorn oil, since I don't have the Thorn oil, to see if just an oil primer period does anything for us, or if it's literally exactly the same. So what I'm looking for is to see if this is gonna cling to any dry patches today or not. And I really don't think an oil is gonna make it have any more coverage, so I don't know that I'll still like love it, because I mean, obviously I have acne I want to cover. A lightweight like serum foundation is not gonna give me that coverage, but if we can at least eliminate the dry patches, then whenever my skin decides to act right, I can get into the habit of wearing this. I have like periods of time, like if my skin's bad, I know I have to go to use a certain foundation that has more coverage. Then it starts to act right and I don't need all that coverage, I might switch to another foundation that kind of lets my skin peek through if I feel like my skin is in good enough shape to let it peek through. Just really trying to make sure I'm massaging this in thoroughly. And that oil primer, by the way, from Well People, it says that you can wear it on its own to hydrate, or it says you can add a drop or two to your favorite cream or foundation. I'm not adding oil to this because it already seems to have some kind of oil in it. I guess is why they're supposed to play nice together, maybe, I'm not sure. So I'm just shaking this really well again, since the directions say shake well. And both times I've used this, even though I'm shaking it, like when I put it in my hand, it still seems to not like fully mix very well. At least from what I've seen. So this is again my third time using it. The first time I set it with powder. The second time I did not. I think I'm gonna set it again today, just because it's gonna be like over 80 degrees Fahrenheit today, and I am gonna go like kind of on a little like field trip walk after school with some kids, and I just feel like maybe it will last a little bit longer if I set it and not be like that oiliness in here, because I didn't have as much oily in here the first time I wore this off camera as I did the second time I wore it, which is the first time you guys saw me wear it on this video. So give me a minute to go ahead and kind of blend this in. I did use the first time too, just to experiment, a brush as well, because the directions say use your fingertips, and I don't know, the brush just kind of like smeared it around. It really wasn't that great. I don't know, I'm kind of just smearing it around, I guess, with my finger too. But it didn't seem to like add any opacity or do anything that different that I was like, okay, this is worth doing it one way or the other. So I decided to try to do it with my fingers the way the directions say. Just because it mentioned like warming the product in your hands first, so I imagine that will do something for it, or I would hope so. Otherwise, I don't know why they're saying that in the directions. And yeah, a brush is obviously not gonna warm up the product the way your hand would. It's weird too, because I feel like the pigment kind of sticks to spots. Like, it's a little streaky to apply, even with my finger. I have to work really hard to make it even and not streaky anywhere. So it seems like the pigment itself doesn't want to like blend again with like the hydrating oil that they've got in this. But that looks okay. See, if my skin was like this all the time and I just had like a tiny blemish, like I would be fine wearing this on like a day-to-day. I could live with that. But over here, like I don't like all this scarring and stuff showing. So as with the other one, just because I am going to work and I don't really, I just want to feel confident, you know, I'm going to kind of spot conceal any areas and kind of let them sit, dry down a bit. And then I just blend out the edges with a Ferrum Medium Angled Shading 55E brush. And yeah, that'll be my complexion for the day. I'll show you what it's like when I've layered makeup on top, just in case, again, with the oil primer, anything changes. Alright guys, so here is the finished makeup for work today, up a little bit closer just so you can see the texture and everything on my skin. Texture actually looks pretty good, looks pretty smooth considering the breakouts I have. Nothing looks cakey. I do really like that because I know sometimes when I do try to build up coverage here, I don't do it to where it's only coverage here and I end up doing too much everywhere and it looks a little cakey in here where I don't need as much coverage. So I will say at least this forces me only to build product where I need it and not have too much places that I don't need as much coverage. So I will check in with you guys later for a final check-in to let you know how it went today with the oil primer from Well People. Hey guys, so it has been about 12 hours of this. So I mean, like, the shadow's still there, you know, the little wing flick and everything, even after 12 hours. But let's look at the complexion. So it's pretty much gone in a lot of places. Obviously, it's been 12 hours. I walked like half a mile outside and it's 84 today. So I've got the hair pulled back. It's kind of breaking up, which, I mean, again, to be expected after 12 hours. But let's zoom in so you can see. It started doing this sort of like breaking up thing in here by about maybe like 4 or 5 hours in. And yeah, it's still like, I know this is the concealer doing this, but it's still like picking up on my blemishes and kind of more like dry textured areas, even with the oil. So it's not like terrible. It's not like I can't go out in public and be seen like this, you know, but I just really feel like it's not enough coverage for me at the end of the day, and I don't really feel like using an oil primer made that much of a difference versus any other primer. So maybe the magic with this is that you have to use the Thorn oil. However, I'm not really into products that it's like you have to buy this line or series of multiple items for it to work and it won't work any other way. To me, I want a product that's going to be compatible with other products. I don't want to have to buy everything in your line or else it won't work. So, and I'm not saying that's the case with this one, just saying that as a statement in general. So yeah, after wearing this a few times, I'll obviously keep wearing it, keep trying it, use it up. I paid for it, but it's personally not my cup of tea. I don't think it's enough coverage. And yeah, I think it picks up really easily on dry spots. So that's kind of my final thoughts at this point. Guys, let me know if you tried this or are interested in it in the comments down below. What do you guys think of the brand Ritual Defeat? Have you tried much from the brand? The only other thing I've tried are the Metamorphic highlighters, and they're amazing. Love them so much. That's why I was taking a chance on the foundation, because of how much I love that product. But this one's a little bit more of a miss for me personally. I should have known when it said Luminous too. Like, that's usually not my vibe, but hey, we tried something new. So let me know what you think in the comments down below, and I hope to see you again on the next one. Bye!